I believe. So I've heard some wonderful things about Karachi. Faisalabad, Pakistan. Awesome. Oh, I'm going to have to look at the map. Going to have to find out where all these amazing places are. Okay. All right, Muzna, take it away, please, my dear.
Hi, Luke. Just last minute hiccups at my end. How are you doing?
Doing awesome, thanks. Doing awesome. Webinar number 1 of 3 for me this afternoon. We've got Pakistan, I've got Thailand, and I've got Vietnam. 3 webinars in a row. So I've got about 50 minutes today. Hopefully we can cover what we need to cover today. I've got some really cool coaching principles and concepts I'd like to share with the group today.
Can't wait. And I won't be taking much of your time. I can barely manage 1 webinar. I don't know how you manage 3 in a day. Well, here I go. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good afternoon. Hope you've had a productive and fun day so far. I am Muzna Ali, General Manager Trainings at Learning Minds, and I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the very dynamic CEO and founder of Coachology, a leading training and coaching company across Southeast Asia, Luke Salway. Yeah. Well, Luke is MCC certified ICF coach, motivational speaker, NLP trainer, and leading development facilitator with over 20 years of experience in personal development, spanning continents from Australia to Asia. Luke has been an integral part of hundreds of company success stories and have trained thousands of leaders with leadership coaching principles around the world. Based in Asia for the last 15 years, he possesses the invaluable expertise and tools to elevate companies in the region to new heights of success. Luke specializes in strategic alignment, leadership development, and sales results. Well, by now you all already know his warm personality, deep understanding of human nature, and proficiency in NLP and IF coaching makes him the perfect choice to fuel any team's growth and development. Well, over to you, Luke.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Muzna. Really appreciate the warm welcome. And welcome to everyone joining us on today's call. How many people are we here at the moment? I think we've got about almost 20. So fantastic. We are recording. So if you enjoyed the session, you can absolutely share it to your friends and your colleagues as well. So the purpose of today's session is to talk about coaching as the way forward for yourself as the leader or executive or business owner, whatever that is that you might be, whatever your role, and how you can absolutely develop and empower your teams to their own next level of success. So I am going to be sharing some slides with you today because I don't just want to talk about coaching. I want to share some valuable insights and principles that I can hope that helps you on your leadership coaching journey. So, by the way, when I talk about leadership coaching, obviously you can use this in the context of your leadership when you're coaching your teams, your peers, your subordinates, or whoever. But you know, these same principles can be used in areas of life coaching as well. So if you want to, you know, coach your teenage kid, if you want to support a family member or a friend who owns a business or whoever, you're absolutely able to use these same principles to help yourself and to help the people that you care about as well. So let me just pull up these slides here. Yep, there we go. So well, just very quickly about me. I'm from Australia. I have been passionate about personal development now for years and years and years. And in fact, that inspired me so much. I left Australia. I went traveling around the world for 1 year to eventually arrive in Thailand. I just loved what was happening here in Thailand. I loved the sense of anything is possible. And, you know, prior to that, I'd been working in a factory in Australia, in a big factory, packing boxes day after day. So as I traveled around the world, I got way outside of my comfort zone and I just discovered the joy of continual growth and development. So I arrived to Thailand. I did not want to go home. So I made my way down to beautiful Koh Samui, which is a tropical island in the south of Thailand here. And I started a career in hospitality, working in the hotel industry. I started at the very, very bottom, and I was getting paid $200 a month, which, as we say in Thailand here, is nit noi. It's a little bit, but I worked very hard. I had a great boss and mentor. And well, after a few years, I'd worked my way up to eventually become a general manager of a 5-star boutique resort in beautiful Koh Samui, Thailand. And I did that for 10 years. And it was during that time where I had my first experience of what coaching was. Now, interestingly, at that time, I didn't know what coaching was, and my boss didn't even know what coaching was. What he was good at, in addition to having a big heart and wanting to support people to grow, he was really, really good at asking questions. Yeah, and so I'll unpack that more as we go through today, but that's basically what coaching is at its most fundamental, is asking questions instead of telling people what to do. And so through his awesome leadership, and then once we had a conversation about his leadership style and this questions and questions and questions, I applied that to my own leadership style, and then eventually left that resort to go and manage my own resort as the big boss at the new resort. So after 10 years of working in the hospitality industry, I thought, oh, well, this coaching thing, I love it. I want to help other people to develop their coaching skills. So number one, they can get promoted. Did you know I doubled my salary in 3 months once I started to apply these leadership coaching principles? So I got promoted, I doubled my salary, and I was truly able to help people to help themselves. I was able to empower others to grow to the next level. And so after 10 years in hospitality, I thought, I want to be a professional coach and trainer. I want to help other people, and I want to teach other people these coaching principles, right? As the old saying goes, if you give a person a fish, you feed them for a day. If you teach them how to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. And so, yeah, I started that journey as a professional coach and trainer about 10 years ago now, with this beautiful company called Coachology, together with my amazing, talented, beautiful, wonderful wife and business partner, Coach Cristy. And on our journey together, Coach Cristy and I, we've worked with all of these organizations and many, many more all around the region. So I'm still based in Thailand now, 20 years later. This is home right now. And I'm here to tell you that the awareness of coaching, the benefits of coaching, the results that coaching produce are becoming very, very well known all throughout Asia. Now, I'm based in Thailand, and I've traveled all around the region teaching these principles. I'm talking Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore. I'm talking China, Hong Kong, Japan. I'm talking Bangladesh, Dubai, you name it, everywhere around the region. Pakistan is the only place I haven't been yet. And so please rest assured, coaching is booming, certainly here in this part of Asia, and it's absolutely expanding more. I was just in the Maldives, probably the best training gig a trainer could ever hope for, working with the leadership team at a beautiful resort over in the Maldives. What principles were they using? They were using these coaching principles. So please rest assured that world-class organizations, multinational organizations are using these principles of coaching to develop their leaders and their teams to the next level. And you can see there's quite a few well-known brands listed in this list here, and all of them have participated in some form of coaching workshop. Right, so here's some examples. So often we run our public programs and people will come from all over the region. They'll fly here to Bangkok, or we will go to organizations and deliver in-house workshops as well. So this one here was a beautiful workshop. It was an NLP coaching workshop, so a combination of NLP and coaching. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. It was a 5-day program delivered in-house. And well, you can see me at the back there. Yeah, what you probably can't tell, I'm 2 meters tall. So I'm always standing at the back in these photos. And there's Coach Cristy right there in the middle. Let me find the little laser pointer. There's Coach Cristy there. She is Thai. And so for this particular workshop, we delivered it in dual language with great success. Look at all those happy smiley faces. And then we've done sessions in Singapore as well. So these programs, they are internationally certified. They're internationally approved. And all around the region, the awareness and understanding of coaching is growing and growing and growing. So I don't want you to miss out, right? I've been in partnership with Learning Minds for many years now. Now, you may remember there was this thing called, what was it? COVID? Yeah. I was almost had my foot on the plane to come and visit you guys about 3 or 4 years ago. And well, we know what happened. So now it's time to get moving. Now, when we talk about coaching, it's all about helping people think differently. And what I mean about thinking differently is we want to help our coachee, whether that is your subordinate or your colleague or your friend or your peer, or for those of you who are looking to perhaps one day soon transition from a 9-to-5 corporate job to become an independent or freelance coach, to be self-employed. Whatever your goals are around coaching, there are things that you know. And so if you're the coach and then you have your coachee, there are things that he or she know. And we know what we know, and we have our life's experience and our work's experience, and we know what we know, and that's linked to your job description and your job function, and that's awesome. Now, interestingly, there's also things that you know that you don't know. So, for example, I don't know, I know that I don't know exactly where Karachi is on the map. When I did look, it was kind of on the south-ish, but kind of on the west-ish near the sea line there. So I know that I don't really know. But some of those other cities that you mentioned in the chat box, I know that I don't know where they are. And I know that I don't know how to speak Japanese. And I know that I don't know many other things as well. So there's what we know and what we know that we don't know. Now, here it becomes interesting. The biggest piece of the pie out of all of the knowledge that exists in the universe is what you don't know that you don't know. In other words, we don't have any conscious awareness about that thing, that tool, that technique, that strategy that if we did know, could help us on our next level of success. For example, I'm going to ask a question here, everyone. So if you'd be so kind to pop the answer into the chat box. Have you heard of the ICF before? The ICF stands for the International Coaching Federation. If you have heard of the ICF before, please type a yes. If you have not heard of the ICF before, please type a no into the chat box. So if you have heard of ICF, put a yes. If you have not heard of ICF, put a no. Okay, so we've got a few yeses. We've got a couple of no's. Okay, absolutely perfect. Now, for those of you that typed yes, can you remember the first time that you did hear about the ICF, right? That you did hear about the International Coaching Federation? Was it a couple of days ago when you registered for this webinar? Was it last week because a friend or a colleague at Learning Minds reached out to you? Or maybe it was a year ago or a couple of years ago, or wow, more than 10 years ago. Awesome. 1 year ago. So for me, it was about 10 years ago. So before that, and here's the thing, so whatever date you've written there, 2022, 2 years ago, 2014, before that, you did not know that the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, we did not know that it was a thing, including me 10 years ago. Then someone mentioned it to me. They said, hey, Luke, do you know the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, is the world's largest authority for professional coaches? And I said to that person, really? I've never heard of them. And they looked at me and they said, yeah, It's the world's largest authority for professional coaches. And I went, huh. So I went from, I did not know that I did not know. My friend mentioned it to me. Hey, Luke, have you heard of ICF? And then it was like, okay, so now I know that the ICF is a thing, something about professional coaching, but really I know that I don't know. Yeah. And so what did I do next? Well, I went onto the internet, that wonderful thing called Google, and I searched around, and a whole new world opened up to me about the International Coaching Federation. So the very next thing after that, I took action. I registered myself in a course, and I got certified as a professional coach, and thus began my professional coaching journey. So this obviously doesn't just apply to ICF. You can think about anything, any knowledge or skill or tool or technique or strategy. Once upon a time, you did not know that you did not know that thing, right? Then you discovered something about it. You had some new awareness, and then you decided to take action and explore more about it. And it's the same concept here, guys, about stepping outside of the comfort zone. So here is what we know and the things that we know that we don't know. Any new information, any new knowledge, any new wisdom is going to exist outside of our comfort zone. So if we want to discover these new tools and these new techniques, it means to be comfortable being uncomfortable, to step outside of our comfort zone, because it's out here where this magic happens. These are the things that we don't know, that if we did know, could help us on our personal and professional development journey. Now, here's the thing. This is important because when you are coaching anyone, whether you're brand new to coaching, you're just kind of curious at the moment, you're not sure, but I'm telling you, by the end of this hour together, you're going to have a couple of tools and techniques to be able to begin your coaching journey immediately, right? And so here's the thing. Most of your coachees, your team, your peers, your subordinate, most people are kind of like stuck in their comfort zone. So the process of coaching helps people to think different, to be more open-minded and curious to discover the things that they don't know, to tap into those hidden resources within them. Does this make sense so far, guys? Yeah? I hope so. Cool. So here's another group that we did here in Bangkok, Thailand. These were the pre-COVID days. You remember those days? Oh, good times, right? Thankfully, we're bouncing back. So let's get really, really clear on a definition, shall we? About what coaching is and what coaching is not. So according to the ICF, which we know is the world's largest coaching authority, coaching is partnering with coachees in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. So let's break this down a little bit here. Firstly, coaching is a partnership, right? So coaching is simply an additional tool that you can use in your leadership toolbox to be able to positively impact and empower others. Now, very importantly here, the best coaching conversations that you have is when your coachee, the person that you are coaching, they are open and willing to partner in the process. What do I mean by that is if your coachee, if they are not willing, if they are not engaged and not participating, I could be the best coach in the universe, but if they're not willing, then the coaching might not work, right? So in those instances, you would try a different leadership tool, such as giving direct feedback or giving disciplinary action or something else. So remember, does coaching work all of the time with all people? No, it doesn't. It works a lot of the time with most people, and it's also situational, right? Remember, it's a tool in your leadership toolkit. So number one, it's a partnership. Number two, it's a thought-provoking, right? Here's the thing. If we continue to think the same thoughts, we'll make the same decisions, we'll take the same actions and we'll create the same results, right? Same, not different. So when we're provoking new thoughts, we're helping our coachee through the power of asking questions. We're helping them to think different thoughts. And with those different thoughts come new decisions, new actions, and new results. And this is how you help your team to grow to the next level to achieve business results. Yeah. And why do we do that? Because we want to maximize their full potential, both their work potential in the professional environment, but also personally as well. Now, to keep things even more simple, this is my definition of coaching. Coaching is asking questions and listening, not telling people what to do. You see, most traditional leaders, most of the time, they're telling their teams what to do all of the time. Now, that has its limitations. Who can tell me in the chat box, and please have those fingers ready. I'm going to ask a couple of questions here in the next slide. What do you think the challenges or limitations are if we only tell our teams what to do all of the time? Who can tell me in the chat box, please? What are the challenges or the limitations that we have as a team or an organization if we are only telling people what to do all of the time? Let's light up that chat box, please. It limits their creativity. Exactly. The thinking process is curtailed, right? Because now I'm doing the thinking for them. So it means they don't even have to think. Well, that's not very creative. They never get I never get the complete picture. If I'm only telling stuff, then it's only from my very limited, narrow perspective. Very nice setup. And very nice, Mubisha. Apologies in advance for my pronunciations. The other party will lose interest to act upon, but exactly, they won't take ownership. They won't take responsibility. Why? Because the boss is just right? They're not engaged. No innovation. It helps them to be better with decision making, creating a lack of ownership and buy-in. Spot on. Okay, yeah, there's no critical thinking there because we're just telling the team what to do. So it's very one-dimensional, right? And here's the thing. If I'm only telling my team what to do, I'm limiting the entire team to my level of thinking, right? Which is a massive trap. It absolutely stops creativity. It stops innovation. It stops synergy where 1 + 1 equals 3. All of that just goes away. All right. No leaders of the future. Autocratic style. Do as I say. Guys, that might have worked 50 years ago, right? It doesn't work these days. So I would like to introduce to you now what I call the leadership development matrix. And this will hopefully explain where coaching and traditional leadership models fall. Let's take a look, shall we? So on one axis here, we have problem and solution. On the other axis, we have asking and telling people what to do. Now, I think you've understood already that most leaders, most of the time, are really good at telling people what to do. But what do you think they focus on most of the time? Are most traditional leaders, are they solution-focused or are they problem-focused? I think you know the answer is down here. And this is what it sounds like. I'm telling people what to do. I'm demanding people what to do. When things don't go right, I'm blaming people or other departments. I'm complaining because I'm focused on the problem. Now, here's the question, right? Please pop your answers into the chat box. According to research, what percentage of the time are most traditional leaders spending in this bottom left-hand quadrant? What percentage of the time are most leaders spending in this bottom left-hand quadrant, would you say, guys? Give me a number between 1 and 100%. 70%, 90%, 60%. Very good, guys. Keep it coming. Let's light up that chat box, please. Keep it coming. 25%, 80%. Doing good. 8%, 80%, 70%, 70%. Very good, guys. Pretty good there. I like your answers. Correct answer is 80%. Give yourself a round of applause. Everyone was pretty close there. So, yeah, and as we've already covered, there are a lot of challenges or a lot of problems when we only tell people what to do all of the time, right? So we need to change that, yeah? And the good thing about being a leader is while maybe you can't change the organization yet, you can influence your department. And so you can start right where you are. That's the beauty of coaching, right? Unless you're working in HR or learning and development, maybe you have the big boss's ear. For most of us, though, you need to get results, right? So the beauty of coaching is you can start right where you are, and you can learn these coaching tools, these skills. You can begin to coach your teams. And you know what? As you start getting results, the big boss knows. The big boss starts to hear things that you're a good listener, or that, you're really good at creating teamwork and synergy. And before you know it, everyone knows, and people start coming to you because they've heard that you're a good listener and you help them to solve their problems. So no, we want to have a balanced leadership development matrix. So up in the top here, yeah, traditional therapy might be up here, but more importantly for leaders, guys, facilitation. So when I say the word facilitation, I want you to think of any kind of group work that you might be doing, such as brainstorming, such as problem solving, such as project work or KPI development or action planning. Most of that starts with some kind of initial problem. Now, here's where it's a bit different when you're facilitating a process. A facilitator is like a guide, okay? So even though you might know the problem, you won't tell the team what the problem is. You'll say, okay, team, thanks for joining us today. Listen, we've got this challenge over here. I need your help to clearly identify the problem. So tell me what's going on, right? And you'll ask questions to help clearly identify the problem. Then, as soon as the problem is clearly identified, and you can do a 5 why or a root cause analysis or whatever tools you already know, then here's where you get to put your hat on of facilitation, and you ask questions towards focusing on the solution, right? So don't spend much time on the problem, but don't tell them what the problem is. Let them figure it out. Let them explain it to you. Let them take ownership of the problem and why it happened. And then ask them questions. Okay, team, how are we going to solve this? What options do we have? What do you recommend, team? What's one possibility? And you're going to ask and ask and ask, which is a form of brainstorming. Yeah, you'll support the process to help them to prioritize and then to create an action plan. So this is what we call facilitation. Down here is mentoring. You could also put consulting down here and other things like that, where you will be telling the other person what to do, with the main focus here being focusing on the solution as opposed to the problem, right? Now, some real simple and practical examples of mentoring is when someone new joins your team, right? They've just joined the organization, or they just joined your team. They don't know what they don't know. So it's not really the time to ask coaching questions or do a full facilitation process with them, because they simply don't know what they don't know. So mentoring is kind of like sharing best practices. Think of SOPs, your standard operating procedures, tips and tricks and best practices and bullet points and checklists. They're all examples of practical mentoring. So for example, many years ago when I was in the hotel industry, when I got promoted to general manager, I suddenly realized that part of my responsibility was to create the budget, the P&L budget for the hotel. what was the income, what were the expenses, and what were the profits. And that had to be put in a nice, beautiful spreadsheet. And at that time, I did not like spreadsheets, and spreadsheets did not like me. So I found myself a gentleman. He had hotel experience and he was a chartered accountant. And so for a couple of hours each week, we would sit side by side. He would share with me templates. He would show me how to fill it in. He showed me some examples. He said, do this, do this. He said, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And in a very short period of time, about 2 months, I was able to create my very own hotel budget for the new hotel that I was working at. Now, I could have figured that out by myself, but it probably would have been taken a year. I'd probably still be trying to figure it out. But because of his guidance and his mentoring, I was able to achieve that outcome in a much, much shorter period of time. Which leaves the final quadrant here, coaching, where coaching is asking questions and focusing on the solution. Now, similar to facilitation though, many times your subordinate or your coachee, they are going to come to you with a problem. So you'll ask questions to help clarify the problem. Don't make assumptions. Don't tell them. Don't put words into their mouth. Let them articulate it clearly. Then your primary focus is asking them questions that are solution focused. Okay, now here's the next question. Get those fingers ready, please, for the chat box. What percentage of the time are most traditional leaders spending on actually coaching their teams? What percentage of the time are leaders coaching their teams? Traditionally, guys, tell me in the chat box, somewhere between 1 and 100. We've got 10%, 5%, 20%, 1%. Excellent. A few more answers, please, guys. A few more answers. Don't fall asleep just yet. I know it's the mid-afternoon. Oh, it's time for a coffee, right? 7%, 5%, 25%. Awesome. Okay, so you ready? Are you sitting down? The answer, 1%. 1%. Now, the good news is that is changing. And if you remember the list of all of those companies I've worked with around the region, I guarantee you their percentage of coaching is much, much higher, because for most of them, I'm teaching them specific leadership coaching skills. Whether they join the full ICF coaching program or simply a 1 or 2 day in-house program, they're learning the very, very same principles. Okay. And yeah, so for the next question, final chat answers here, please. What percentage of the time should we be coaching our teams? What percentage of the time should we be coaching our teams? Now, I know it depends on your industry and the size of your team and so on. I get that. But just on average, what do you think would be a good number to aim for? Please tell me in the chat box. 80%, 90%, 70%, 75%. Excellent answers. Keep them coming, guys. A few more, please. A few more. How am I going for time? I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. 90%, 40%. Okay, very good. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, this answer may surprise you a little bit. Are you ready? In the beginning, I would recommend that you aim for 10 to 20% in the beginning. And there's a couple of very important reasons why that number might seem a little bit small to you, but let me explain why. First things first, my invitation to you would be to develop a balanced leadership development matrix where over time you are coaching your team maybe 20 to 30% of the time. You're facilitating. Remember facilitating, that kind of group work, the brainstorming, the problem solving, the project work. You do that 20 to 30% of the time. You could absolutely mentor by sharing best practices and guidance and helping and encouraging and so on. You can easily do that 20 to 30% of the time. And as a leader, it's still okay to tell your team directly what to do. For example, giving direct feedback is going to be down here. You can drop the demanding, the blaming, and the complaining. You can let go of that. but you can replace it with, direct feedback. You can replace that with, pit stops or having just very direct conversations about whatever. So that's the first reason, is I invite you to develop a balanced leadership development matrix. But really the main reason, imagine this. Imagine I've been really, really good at telling my team what to do for the last 20 or 30 years. Then I learned some of these coaching principles and I got really excited and I think, wow, I'm going to coach everyone. I'm going to coach the world. I'm going to coach my staff. I'm going to even coach my boss. I'm going to coach. Well, here's the problem with that. You are not just coaching them or trying to coach them. What you're doing is you're totally changing your communication style and your leadership style. And your team will freak out, right? If you one day you're telling them what to do 80% of the time, and then the very next day you're asking all of these questions and what do you think and what could be a good option? What would be one suggestion? Your team will go, oh, what's with all the questions, boss? Who are you? What did you do with my boss? Stop it, make it stop. Just tell me what to do, right? So they're going to freak out. So I would recommend that you walk before you run. You get yourself some coach training. You get yourself some framework and systems and processes to be able to coach effectively. And you just aim for 10 to 20% at the beginning. And then, of course, over time, can you build that up to 80%? Absolutely, you can. Just be mindful, though, that you still want to mentor and you still want to do the group work as well. So you could aim for 30 to 40 to 50%, depending on your industry and so on. Does that make sense, guys? Any questions on the leadership development matrix? Just pop them in the chat box if you do. Now, very quickly, let me tell you some of the benefits of coaching your teams, right? And actually, just before we get there, what are some really, really powerful coaching questions that you can ask? Because I'd like to give you a couple of tools that you can absolutely start to use immediately, right? So a couple of example coaching questions are simply, and if you know any, please drop them into the chat box. When someone comes to you with a problem, what do you think? What could be one suggestion? Good. What's another option? What's another possibility, right? I know you don't know, but if you did know, that's one of my favorites to ask. They say, oh, I don't know, boss. And I say, I know you don't know, but if you did know, what could be a solution, right? I could also say things like, what would your favorite mentor recommend, or your favorite uncle or previous boss or whoever? You could say to them, what would I tell you to do? And they'll go, huh? And you'll say, yeah, well, you've just come to me with this problem. What do you think I'm going to tell you? Right? So you're really getting them to think outside and beyond their current level of thinking. Now, this for me is by far the biggest benefit to you as the leader, as you begin to implement these coaching principles. And this is in addition to getting promoted and increasing your salary that I've already mentioned before. Are they important reasons? Of course they are. But this one too, and this helps you to get to that one. Coaching is an ROI of your time, a return on investment of your time. What do I mean by that? Most leaders, they fall into the trap of saying, oh, I don't have time to coach my team. I'm too busy. It's quicker for me to just tell them what to do. That is a trap. Let me explain why. When you tell people what to do, they don't think for themselves. Remember all those answers you wrote down before? They don't think for themselves. They're not creative. They're not innovative. And anytime they have a problem, they come running to you. Not just one of your team, every single person of your team. So you don't really get any of your own work done because you're always putting out fires. You're always solving other people's problems. And guess what? Before you know it, your day is gone. So here's the thing. When you start practicing these coaching principles, and I would invite you to try this starting this afternoon or tomorrow, when someone comes to you with a problem, You ask some questions. Tell me about the problem. Tell me about the situation. What's going on? Tell me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more. Okay. When you're clear about the situation, you say, great, thank you for sharing. Then you say, what do you recommend? And your team, when you do this the first time, they'll go, what? And you say, well, what do you think? What could be one solution? Now, this is where you need to be patient. Right? This is where you need to invest the time in a coaching conversation. And in the beginning, with simple coaching like this, it's only going to take 10 or 15 minutes, right? In the beginning, at the very, very beginning. So you be patient. Now, when you say, what do you think? Or what do you recommend? Or what would your mentor say? Or what would I tell you to do? Then eventually they will share something. Now, here's the thing. That first solution or possibility that they share, it might not be that good. So you say, good, thank you, right? Always encourage them for sharing. Then you say, what could be another option? Oh, I don't know, boss. I know you don't know, but if you did know, and again, you just be patient and you do your best to elicit 3 possible solutions from them, right? Then you help them to choose the best one and you say, great job, thank you. And you encourage them, you motivate them, you inspire them, and you acknowledge that they came up with the idea. Now, here's the thing. You might spend 15 minutes on that first coaching conversation. And over the course of 1 month, you might have a 15-minute conversation here, 10 minutes there, a 20-minute one here, another 10-minute one there. Let's imagine, for an example, over 1 month, you have 1 hour of coaching conversations with one of your team. Usually, on the 4th or 5th time, when they come back to you with the next problem, you know what happens? They're about to come to you with a problem, and they say to themselves, you know what? If I just go to the boss, he's just going to ask me, what do you think we should do? What's one possibility? What do you recommend? And you know what? They say to themselves, you know what? I got this. I know what to do. I can solve this. And in that moment, you start to cash in on your investment of time, right? So in that 1 month, you invested 1 hour via 3 or 4 coaching conversations to help them come up with their own solution. Now, from that point forward, you've helped them to think for themselves. You've helped them to be proactive. You've helped them to get beyond their current level of thinking. And so now they don't come knocking on your door every 10 minutes saying, boss, I've got a problem, right? Because you have empowered them. So in the following months, right? Follow me here. In the following months, you save hours and hours and hours of your time with that one subordinate, with that one employee. So when you invest 1 hour of coaching, over the next 3 months, you will save half a day or a full day of your time because you made it important to invest in the development and empowerment of your team. Does that make sense? Right? So this is what needs to shift first, is our own mindset around these benefits of coaching and understanding that, wow, yes, it takes time in the beginning, but I promise you, you will save so much time in the long run. You will free your time up to focus on the things that are more important. And you know who notices? You know who's noticing you? That's right, the big boss. The big boss says, I don't know what you're doing, but things are working over here. You're achieving your goals. Your team seem motivated and engaged. And my goodness, your team member have got employee of the month 3 times in a row. Like, what are you doing? And then you say, boss, I'm glad you asked. It's called coaching. And this is how you begin, by starting where you are, wherever you are in the organization. This is how you begin to influence people upstream. More benefits. You are going to empower your team members. So those subordinates, you're going to empower them to the next level. You're going to motivate them to the next level. Improved delegation and succession planning. This is the main and final point that I want to touch on here. Most traditional leaders, because they're not empowering their teams, they're just keeping the power for themselves and they're just telling people what to do. As a result of that, there is a big gap between the leader and the rest of the team, right? Because they're going to steal my job. I don't want them to steal my job, so I'm not going to be open. I'm not going to share. I'm not going to delegate. I'm not going to empower. This is mine, 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 mine. And that's a trap. Because here's the thing, if there's a big gap and now there's a promotion to work in the next big city, guess what? You can't get that promotion because who is going to do your job? The answer is no one, because you have not consciously thought of a succession plan and you have not been effectively delegating and coaching your teams. A modern leader is thinking to empower his or her team. They delegate effectively. They have a plan for their own succession. They use coaching and mentoring to purposefully close that gap. Now, when they close that gap between them and their team, when that new position comes up as the country director or whatever, the big boss, because we all have a big boss, the big boss says, you know what? I've been watching you. You're getting goals. You've been training your team. You've been coaching and mentoring your team. You know what? I think you're ready. I think you're ready because I see you've already got 2 candidates to take over your job now. That's awesome. Leave that to the internal process. We'll take care of that from here on in. You better get your bags packed because you are going to the next floor, right? You'll create greater loyalty. You'll create greater teamwork with your team. You will remove and learn from negative emotion. I know that our staff should leave their problems at home, but at the end of the day, they are humans and they are not robots. So inevitably, your team are going to come to work with some kind of drama. And coaching is a very powerful tool to help people get beyond their negative thinking and negative emotions. And that will absolutely make them more productive and they will develop an even higher level of respect for you, which clearly develops everything for you to be a better leader. So the survey here, numbers, they don't lie. Coaching is having a massive positive impact for leaders and organizations all around the world. Remember, this is not just like, from Australia. This is worldwide phenomena that is happening right now. This gentleman here, I personally coached and trained and mentored him. He is now the #1 coach trainer in all of Myanmar, the most successful. And by the way, back then, this was maybe 8 years ago, coaching and training was not really a thing in Myanmar. He brought the benefits of coaching to Myanmar, and he's hugely successful there now. And here's the pathway very quickly in my closing for 5 minutes. So you may have heard I am coming to Pakistan together with Coach Cristy, my wife and partner. We're coming on the 18th and 19th of October to deliver this program down here. This is an ICF approved and accredited leadership coaching certification. It's 65 hours, which includes about 20 hours of pre-study, 2 days of live face-to-face training right there in Karachi, and then followed by some online group coaching and assessment and so on. That then helps you to go to the next level, what they call ACC, Associate Certified Coach, which to get the ACC level, this is the next one. Think of it this way. The ACSTH is like the foundation. And if you're not interested in a certificate, then you just, this is a certification program. It does make you an internationally certified and accredited coach, and it's the foundational level. If you're working in an organization, then that's probably absolutely perfect for you. For those of you thinking about a coaching career or wanting to implement a coaching culture in your organization, then yes, you'll want to go to this next level. Or there's another option here. The ICF, they've created this new kind of package, if you like, which they call level 1. And I'm going to share a video link through to Learning Minds that explain this a lot more clearly than the 3 minutes I have remaining here. Basically, this level 1 program includes your performance evaluation and your 10 hours of mentoring. That is included in the level 1 program. Now, what's next? You move on to PCC and then finally MCC. So if you're interested, please grab a quick screenshot of that. Guys, you're able to email the team at Learning Minds. They're going to explain all of this information to you. I'm actually going to make another little quick video for you as well, explaining this in much, much more detail. And you can also search Coachology on YouTube. There, I've got literally 100 videos about coaching and leadership. Just search Coachology on YouTube. You can subscribe. You can get free content there. So take a screenshot if that's interesting for you. Best decisions of my life, according to Chong from Malaysia. And here's the thing, as I mentioned, organizations are really seeing the benefits of this kind of training. So they are certifying key members, senior leadership and executives and so on to be certified coaches so that they can create an internal coaching culture. Look at that multinational group there. I think in that group we had 12 different nationalities from around the region converging into Bangkok for our ICF Leadership Coach training. Now, the good news is you do not have to come to Bangkok. You're always welcome to come to Bangkok, of course, but I'm going to be in Karachi on 18 and 19 of October. Now, you will want to register very, very soon because you need to complete the 20 hours pre-study, which is online, self-paced video modules, in order that you can join the 2 days live training with myself and Coach Cristy. Now, we are both MCC certified coaches, the highest level of credential in the ICF world. So you're going to have 2 MCC certified coaches guiding you along your professional coaching journey. Now, a regular investment of this kind for this 65-hour coach training program, you're looking at $3,000 US as the regular investment. The good news, are you ready? It's only $2,250. So you can reach out to Muzna and the good folks there at Learning Minds. You can get more information from them. They can sort out everything that needs to be sorted out. And the extra special good news, they do have group discounts available. So my suggestion, if you are working in a larger organization, go and speak to HR or your learning and development or the big boss and get a couple of people interested to come along for this life-changing journey. It transformed my life, and I absolutely know it's going to transform your life as well. So you can search me on LinkedIn. Just search Luke Salway, S-A-L-W-A-Y. You can WhatsApp me. But for details on the course and the pricing and the invoicing and all of that kind of awesomeness, please reach out to the team at Learning Minds. Please do excuse me. I do need to jump into another webinar right about now. Unless someone has a question that I can answer in less than a minute, please pop it into the chat box now. But tell me, guys, tell me quickly, did you enjoy our little conversation today? If you had a good time, just tell me a yes or give me a thumbs up and a smiley face. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Welcome to the world of professional leadership coaching. I hope to see you in Karachi in October. I can't wait. I love, love, love visiting a new country for the first time. And I love, love, love sharing these principles, these benefits, and the impact, right? If having a positive impact is one of your values, don't wait till you retire. Don't wait until, you know, you're thinking about transitioning careers. Start where you are right now, right? Because you get paid your monthly salary and you get to practice your coaching skills under the security of an organization. It's a no-brainer. So until next time, ladies and gents, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please stay cool, stay awesome. Thank you, Muzna, for your warm introduction at the beginning, and see you in about 6 weeks or so, yeah?
Yes, yes. Can't wait, Luke. Really, thank you so much. That was very, very informative. I think I'm going to get myself enrolled too.
Very good. Well, I tell you what, You can stay on the line there now, Muzna. You can help answer any questions that anyone might have. I really do need to dash and open up my next webinar. So see you all in October. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Ciao,
Thank
ciao.
you, Lou.
My pleasure.
Bye. 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 All right, Ji. I am open for any questions that you may have. Anything that you would like to say, any comments. You can also type in the chat box, or you can connect with me separately, whatever. I'm here for the next couple of minutes.
Hi, Muzna. So this is Mamuna from Nepal. How are you?
Hi, Mamuna. How are you? I'm good. I'm good.
Good, good. So thank you for the webinar. It was great. I think quite clear in terms of understanding and your expectations. Just wanted to check something with you. So I think last when I spoke to your team, this one, the $2,250 includes the entire 65 hours, right? And that kind of makes you an associate certified coach from what I'm understanding the coaching pathway that Luke just showed. So
Absolutely.
if you are an associate certified coach, that means you can practice coaching on a professional level. That's what I wanted to check.
That's absolutely correct. So you're
Perfect.
ICF certified coach, and that means that you're allowed to conduct coaching one-on-one or in groups, or you can just take the learnings and apply to your everyday work life or personal life, however you'd like. But you're certified, and this certification doesn't have an expiry date. So it's a certification for the lifetime.
And this also includes some exam, right? That's what it says in the box that he showed, that there's 60 hours of coach training, which is of course pre, post, and the program. Then 100 hours of coaching experience, 10 hours of mentoring, 1 performance evaluation, pass on the ICF credential exam. So all of this is not part of the program, I'm assuming. That's something that we need to do on our own.
So with 65 hours, there is some coaching that you'd be doing. That's peer coaching. That's voluntary coaching that you'd be doing. It's all combined 65 hours. And then you'd have to take an exam. And then that would give you the certificate.
So the exam is a separate cost, of course. That's what it is.
It doesn't hold a cost. It's within the whole thing.
Okay, makes sense.
It's just that you have to take the exam. So you must take it, and then you'd be given the certification.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mamuna. Anyone else? All right, then. Thank you so much, everyone. Any questions still, please get in touch with my team. You can get in touch with me. You can reach out to us on the social media handles or the numbers that are available. Thank you so much for your time. Allah Hafiz.